Welcome to the Scent of Beauty. My name is Susan, and I wanted to do a part two on Tare, T-I-E-R, Tare, T-A-R-E, and Tear, T-E-A-R. And the reason why I wanted to do a part two, it's because I have more to add to the first video. And just to recap a little bit, we talked about um, our psyche and how we overextend ourselves and we shoulder a lot of other people's weight. And one of the things where I wanted to start off with this video, it's where I mentioned before, where we become like beacons for other people, become the pillar of their hope, and we are placed in a position of being their strength, and we advance others while staying same. And while we're staying the same, we are others' backbone while they're advancing. And while they're advancing, I thought about the scent of beauty, and like with cooking or baking in particular, I realized that when we shoulder other people's psyche, what we allow is we become basic. Our psychological thinking is just basic, just like with baking, just the basic water, flours, and eggs. We become bland in our own lives. We become boring. And what we do is eat, sleep, work, and we're just always there to help someone else. And so today I wanted to talk about just being the other person, reliable pick me upper. And that is not what we want to ignore any longer. The reason for the scent of beauty is because so often we do these behaviors and we have these attitudes. We shoulder so many we shouldered other people's lack. But what about the lack, the deficit, my deficit, our deficit? What happened when we place ourselves in an inferior position? Then our our needs and wants stays underneath other people's desires. And as we shoulder other people, just like with the tear, a cake, T-I-E-R, say a wedding cake, for instance, or just any cake that has a three layer, we realize that the the top tier tells the occasion. It tells whether it's a birthday cake, if it's a wedding cake, a graduation, while the while the lower tier, the bottom tier, it has external decorative, it's glossed over, but what it suffers from is nothingness. And that's what our psyche suffer from when we allow this to happen, from nothingness. I have seen I have been in situations where just observe people in a wheelchair, and when they're being weighed, they're taken out of the chair and they're weighed separate from the chair. And the chair is a container, the wheelchair is a container, and it is the Tare, that tear. How much does that weigh when it's separated from the individual that is sitting in it? And so often we become so enmeshed with another person. We never separate to see what is our tier. What are we made of? How much do we weigh? How much of our psyche belongs to us? Or are we so filled with other people in our domain that we don't even realize that we don't even have any feeling to call self? and we become overwhelmed with the psychological void. And that's where those tears come in. So often we're crying, and the tears are so filled with sorrow for not being acknowledged. I always say that my tears are my biggest supporters when I don't know what to say or do. My tears always flow and support me and carry a message all within itself. We talk about the DNA in other videos and the RNA, the messages that we copy. But what happened is we lack protein mix because we talk about the proteins of joy, aspiration, the protein of love for ourselves. You see, that's what the mix is all about. That's why I talk about the tier because and the chair, because in the separation, these protein mix needs to be developed in our own psyche, and those underdeveloped cells that have laid dormant can become alive, because so many of the messages that our psyche wants to tell us, they go unanswered because we are shouldering another human being, and call that noble. There's nothing noble in the psyche. In the psyche, abstinence. We can't be abstinence in our own psyche and expect another human being, another person or group to fill us, to sit within us, and to become one with us. It doesn't work that way. But that's where the conditioning, I feel, stems from, where uh, if we think about ourselves, how often are we called you're selfish, you only care about yourself? But in actuality, I'm to be my first concern. I'm to be concerned about myself. And that's not selfish, it's self-care. And that's what the scent of beauty is, I hope, is being convey about the psyche care. Chemicals that we have to start bringing in the mix in our own, for our own well-being. And we literally have to fix or attempt to at least give some consideration to our breach psyche. You see, when something is breached, it's turned around. And so we have to turn our psyche around to incorporate what is it that I need or want, and stop being in those positions where we're shouldering other people's psychological care. So those drama triangles, those triangulations, that today we are afforded the opportunity to stop and breathe in our dreams, to breathe in our abilities that so often we don't even know that we're capable of performing, manifesting. And so those tears that, stems from withering under the weight of, that is withering under the weight of lack, can be chemically changed into tears of joy, of inspiration, of happiness, and have a relationship in a functional manner, which is really side by side, shoulder to shoulder, interpersonal, pound for pound, human interactions. When everyone's feet are planted on the ground, then we stand on equal footing. Hence, the love of the scent of beauty. equal contribution in a relationship. Thank you.